Has the American leader not realized that diplomacy and negotiations do not work with Vladimir Putin?
Well, let's start from the tweet by Kit Kellogg. That's very interesting. And this is exactly the example which I mentioned at the beginning of our conversation, that when Russians, they struck the building of government, when each bureaucrat on the West understands that, yeah? And each bureaucrat in the West feels that, okay, it's about me personally, because me personally, I was in this building, says Mr. Kellogg, yeah, I was. So this it could be the strike against me personally. And the same, I believe, feels everybody from Western leaders who visited Kiev during this war. And today, Prime Minister of Ukraine, Yulia Sviridenko, she organized something like tour to this Stroken building for foreign diplomats, 60 foreign diplomats. And each of foreign diplomats during his career, or her career, visited this building, because this is the building of Ukrainian government. So also they felt that that is against them personally. They feel it personally. When Russians strike schools, then Russians strike some children, they don't feel it personally, because they live without children here and visit Ukraine, for example. But this is personally against any bureaucrat. So this is good that Ukraine now should bring it. It is just help to Ukraine to bring this to the first pages of all the newspaper, all the world newspapers. Okay. And when we continue to speak about President Trump, so, I should support President Trump this week. Absolutely support. And I will explain why. Because one of his reasons why he does not put any new sanctions on Russian Federation, he says, and not only he personally, but his staff, the Minister of Finance and the Minister of Energy said today that we want to put the new sanctions on Russian Federation, yes, but we want to do that together with Europe.
With Europe, yes, you're quite right.
We are not ready to subsidize Europe, yeah? Putting the sanctions on India, on China, on Russian Federation, and I mean the third parties who participate with trade with Russian Federation, United States de facto subsidize Europe, because Europe continues to buy oil and Europe continues to buy gas. And on the meeting, it was not a physical meeting, it was the call. On last week, there were the call from Paris, when in Paris, gathered together all the European leaders, and they called Mr. Trump, and they discussed that. So in press, they reported that, that President Trump was not happy about what they asked. They asked him to put the new sanctions on Russian Federation, and he said, no, just a second. You should stop to buy Russian oil. And President of the European Commission, Ursula von der Leyen, said, but only Hungary and Slovakia buys the Russian oil. But Hungary and Slovakia, this is also European countries and the members of European Union and members of NATO. And Minister of Energy of United States today continued this Mr. Trump's speech and said, but what about gas? And I will say that Italy buys a lot of Russian gas, and European Union is the main purchaser, the main market for Russian gas, till now.
Yes,
and okay, pipelines of gas, they are exposed, and they don't supply gas by pipeline, but they supply gas by ships to European Union. And today, exactly today, on Monday this week, we have a meeting in Washington between the High Representative of European Union for sanctions, I don't remember exactly the name, Mr. O'Sullivan, sorry, with the Ministry of Finance of United States, and they will prepare the common offer to European countries and United States government about the common common sanctions. That is important point. That is important point. It could work only if both United States and European Union will put the same sanctions on the same day on the same countries. And Financial Times today reported that is the first time during this war that European Union discuss now inside the sanctions against China for trade with Russian oil. That is very important. And another point, Mr. Trump accuses Europe that they buy the refined oil from India, and this is Russian oil refined by India. So in fact, this is like shadow market of Russian oil. And this is the true. This is true. And Mr. Trump is absolutely right in this case.
Yes, and we see that together European Union and United States can strike Russian Federation, but sometimes we see like we have not only such countries like Hungary really and Slovakia, but France, Belgium and other countries, and I don't really understand why. Maybe they say that in 2027 then always say no to Russian energetic source, but now we have only 2025.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
So they not only could strike Russia by these sanctions, but the Minister of Finance of United States, Scott Bessent, he said that they could destroy Russian economy, totally destroy Russian economy.
Collapse,
And
yes.
Also the Scott Bessent now he's like the leader of American sanctions. He somehow managed that. Obviously, I believe it was agreed with President Trump. We don't know, it was not publicly agreed, yeah, but it looks like it was agreed that he takes the leading role now on sanctions, not only American but also European sanctions. And he brought the new formula about this war generally. It was his speech from just Sunday on some American channel, NBC, I believe. He says that the question now is, what will be end first, Ukrainian army or Russian economy? So this is the war between Ukrainian army, Ukrainian military forces, and Russian economy. And he believes that we could just destroy Russian economy totally, that they couldn't finance the war ever. That's the idea now.